Hello, Degens! Welcome to Degenerate Takes. I am the brofict one, AJ, and with me, as always, is the one who knows everything, the man who the sportsbooks are afraid of, the sportsbook whisperer, Mr. Noah Engelbretson. Noah, how the hell are you doing today?
AJ, I'm doing great. Aside from Iona blowing a
Fucking Iona, seriously.
blowing a good cover that they had going there, but other than that, we're tremendous. So
Glad to hear that. Noah, obviously wearing a nice little U of A jacket there, U of A covering the 15 and a half the other night. And you know what? I'm going to say it right here, right now. This is a college basketball episode because there's been a lot that's been going on. And I know you have a lot to say about college basketball. I have a lot to say about college basketball. And I want to start with the fact of how disrespected the University of Arizona is being ranked behind USC at
whoa.
number 6 right now.
Well, I would not throw out the word disrespected. Um,
Really?
we're ranked number 6. We're going to be either 4 or 3, barring a meltdown loss on Saturday tomorrow. I don't think you can by any means say that we're being disrespected. We're going to be ranked in the top 5 most likely come Monday.
I hope we better be. We better be. We deserve to be
So
in the top 5.
USC and UCLA both obviously losing, so should jump ahead of both of them. Take the reins as the Pac-12's daddy, if you will. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. We are the number 1 team in the Pac-12. We are the best team in the Pac-12. We run the show. We run the show.
Honestly, and the fact that UCLA canceled so many games and rescheduled so many games, it really feels like the hangover from the tournament is still alive and well. I understand they're 10-1. However, you look at their schedule, you look at who they've played, it's a very weak
Yeah.
10-1 in my opinion. Do you have anything to say on
They're
UCLA right now?
well, they're 10-2 now.
10-2 now, excuse me. The what I'm looking
They
at is
they
not
lost
updated.
lost to Oregon in overtime last night.
Gotcha.
Yeah. AJ, I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. Like UCLA's good. Don't get me wrong. They're good. But what have I been saying for like weeks? They're not a top 5 team.
No,
They're
not
not.
a
They're
top
not.
5 team.
And USC also not. I mean, they got off to like a 12-0, 13-0 start. Like, good for them. Like, that's really good. But USC, honestly, like they're not even at the same level as UCLA. I think by the time the season plays out and everything over, like they're going to lose a couple more games. USC is going to be right in that like 15 to 20 range in the rankings. I think they're a solid like 3 or 4 seed in the tournament. Uh, the fact that they hadn't lost a game until they lost to Stanford, obviously they were a little inflated with their status there, but they will fall to where they deserve to be, which is probably like a 3, 4, 5 seed. UCLA also, I think they could earn themselves a 2 seed, but I think honestly, like UCLA deserves like a 3 seed, USC like a 4 or 5. Arizona, God, if we can keep doing what we're doing, this team might damn well get a 1 seed. But I also don't feel like Arizona deserves a 1 seed, unfortunately. And
No, not even a little bit.
I hate that I'm saying this, but I think we deserve a 2 seed. I think we deserve a 2 seed in the tournament based on what I've seen from this team. Very, very good team. Very good team. Tommy Lloyd in his first year should hands down win Coach of the Year this year. I'd be surprised if he didn't, but uh, I mean, the fact that this team has like not really been in the rankings very much the last 2 years under Sean Miller. Obviously, we've had the looming investigation shit, like just
Yeah, the
this dark
scandal and
cloud,
everything. You really can't get away with that.
this stupid dark cloud looming over our program because the NCAA and the FBI and all that. These investigations have been going on for what 5-6 years now, and they can't maybe not 5-6, but like I don't know 3-4-5
Since
years
we were
now.
in college, so 4 or 5 years.
But there has been no ruling on it too, which is like
None, because there was no
either
fucking proof. It was a witch hunt. For some reason, ESPN decided U of A is the college we're going to go after for college basketball recruiting. Not Gonzaga, not Duke, not UCLA, not literally anyone else. But U of
well,
A is the only one we're going to target on that.
there were 4 or 5 other schools involved in that.
Yeah,
Oklahoma
but no one
State
gave a
taking
shit
the
about
word.
those other schools because U of A was the only one that was a power conference, like a power school in that.
That's not true. They were all power schools, but Power Five. But the only school taking all the repercussions and heat seems to be Oklahoma
Is U
State.
of A.
No, Oklahoma State, and that's because they were the only ones who admitted to what they were accused of. Because you have
Dipshits. Why
LSU,
would you do
you have
that?
you have LSU who's been doing really great this year under Will Wade,
LSU is good
who
this
was
year, yeah.
who's also a coach who was involved in this. USC and Andy Enfield, they were also a team that was involved in this, and they're obviously doing really great. So, I mean, it's kind of funny to me that Oklahoma State's the only one that like they were like, all right, well, we're just gonna take it on the chin, and then we'll be better for it. And every other school is just like still denying the fact that any of this happened. And Oklahoma State, obviously, I think they. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they have a postseason ban this year because of like yada yada yada, and they took their sanctions because they like played ball with the NCAA,
Oh, that makes sense.
and that was foolish on their part. Why play ball? Like the NCAA
No,
is
seriously, the NCAA means nothing. They
it's
don't
a
do
fucking
jack
joke.
shit.
It's a fucking joke. Don't play ball with them. Like make them give you hard proof before you do anything. I'm still pissed that Arizona did that like self-imposed postseason ban last year because
We should have
I
won.
think.
We could have gone to the Elite Eight last year.
Well, the funny thing is, UCLA with that 11 seed play-in game, obviously crazy run for them. They made the Final Four, looked really good on the Pac-12. I think Arizona would have beaten them out for that 11 seed play-in spot if Arizona didn't have a postseason ban last year. Which
No,
is why, if you follow the podcast, I've said this many a times, that UCLA barely even made the tournament last year, and then all of a sudden they come in at like what number 3 in the preseason rankings.
Yep.
They're a really good team. They're a really good team. Don't get me wrong. They're not a top 5 team. And I think we'll see that here. We finally got the game rescheduled at UCLA, January 25th. U of A is playing at UCLA. But anyways, not everybody's going to be caring as much about the Pac-12 as we do. Let's get into the whole scope of the top 25 here, AJ, over the past week.
Bro, I'm down. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about, Baylor and USC, the last of the undefeateds, both taking a loss earlier this week. USC losing to Stanford. USC losing to Stanford is way worse than Baylor losing to Texas Tech, which Texas Tech looks like a
wagon
monster. They've lost a couple games this year.
Wait, hold on. Before we move on, let's just talk about that Texas Tech Baylor game. I went into the game. I'm not gonna lie. Took Texas Tech.
I gotta preface
it. You go ahead.
Gotta preface it with the fact that Texas Tech, before this Baylor game, coming off a win against Kansas.
Big win against KU.
That is 2 top 10 wins in a row. Texas Tech is no joke. They're a good team. They're a really good team.
They are a really good team, and Vegas had this line so right. I mean, I was talking to I know a guy who used to work for Texas Tech and like used to work for their basketball team and everything, and I was like, bro, 7.5. Like Texas Tech is giving Baylor 7.5. Like, am I stupid for taking this? And he was like, bro, this Texas Tech team is one of the best ones I've seen in a long time. You would not be an idiot for taking it. And so I took it, and here we are today, and I'm a winner. Like, this Texas Tech team is really, like, as you were saying, Noah, it's no joke what they can do.
Unfortunately, I did not realize that until now. I was definitely on Baylor. I think I had the minus
the 7.
I think I had them 6.5, but yeah, I was on Baylor in that game. After beating Kansas and Baylor in back-to-back games, I mean, Texas Tech, they're sitting at 19 right now. The 19 was a product of beating Kansas, but after beating Baylor, I bet they jump up to all the way to like 11 or 12 in the rankings. This Texas Tech team they're good. They're good. They're a good team.
They're very good. I think we won't really. I don't think we really will see how good this Texas Tech team is until March Madness. I feel like they are going to be a very good tournament team. I feel like their regular season record is going to throw us off a little bit, though.
Hey, the nice thing for Baylor, I think the hype that Texas Tech is going to get is only going to drop them 2 or 3 spots. I do think Baylor stays ahead of Arizona in the rankings here.
I agree with you.
I think Baylor is still in the top 4. Gonzaga most likely going to be the number 1 seed come Monday. I think Auburn jumps to number 2. However, I do think Auburn is gonna get a quarter or a third of the number 1 votes this week. Auburn is a wagon. They are a wagon.
See, hold on. I'm gonna back you up a little bit there.
They have the best player. They have the best player in college basketball. Jabari Smith.
Not gonna disagree
best player
with you.
in college basketball.
100%.
And Auburn is a very good team.
Damn it, Coyotes lost. Anyway.
What's new?
Fuck off, Noah. 4-3, they covered the puck line. Anyway.
Well, that's, becoming more common, I guess, but they still lose every game.
They cover the puck line. They never fucking do that. Anyway, what team are we talking about? I had a good point.
Auburn. I know you hate all Alabama schools, but
No. I love Auburn. I honest to God think Auburn is a top 10 school and everything. However, I'm not sure. I will bet on them for the foreseeable future. They seem to be a wagon, as you said. However, when we get into tournament time and everything, they're the last team I'm going to bet on. I don't trust them in these tight situations. I don't trust them to cover these.
I don't know where that's coming. I don't know where that's coming from. I mean, if you're betting on them ATS every game, yeah, but they literally have the best player. They have the best player in college basketball. They have Jabari Smith, who's like 6'9", 6'10".
Yes, and the Lakers
runs the court like a guard.
The Lakers have the best player in the NBA and LeBron James. And how are they doing?
Well, you're crisscrossing NBA and college. That doesn't matter. College, because college is a completely different story. It's different than the NBA. It's so much different. Anyways, let's try to not interject too much NBA into this, AJ. We are talking college basketball.
Sorry.
Like I said, I do expect Baylor to fall a couple spots. I think they fall.
They can't be number one after this week.
I think they fall to 3. I think Gonzaga gets back
takes 2. UCLA
to number
goes
1.
to 4. Auburn takes
I think
2.
Auburn goes. My guess is, so here's my prediction for the top 5 come Monday, assuming nothing wacky happens this weekend. I think Gonzaga 1, Auburn jumps all the way to 2.
Okay.
I think Baylor falls to 3, and I think Arizona pops in there at 4. And then 5
over USC.
Yeah, well, they lost. They lost to Stanford. UCLA lost to Oregon, and then I think Purdue jumps to 5. I think I'm going to round it out with Purdue as my number 5. They had a
Purdue's good.
They had a blowout win against Nebraska. Nebraska's terrible, but
not a good basketball team. Illinois also not a good basketball team.
27-point win at home against Nebraska today. So that's my prediction for the top 5 come Monday is Gonzaga, Auburn, Baylor, Arizona, Purdue.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with you. Honestly, like you know college basketball better than I do. And I've been following it a lot more. But yeah, that's my top 5 as well. I don't see Arizona getting past 3. However, they are definitely better than 5. Auburn has been on a tear lately.
They could be 3. They could be 3. But I think 4 is realistic. They won't be better than 3. God, if I'm gonna like burn some buildings down if they're not in the top 4. Like if they somehow end up at 5, I'm literally burning shit down because that's ridiculous. But
the issue is with such a young team, I could see us be put at 5.
No, after a 21-point win against Colorado and USC lost and UCLA lost and Baylor lost, like I said, we're not gonna. I think Baylor's
the hangover from USC, the hangover from UCLA is a lot worse than I think we anticipated. Their victories in March Madness and everything. If U of A is number 5 and UCLA is number 4, I would not be surprised. I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, so we've talked a lot about the top 6-7 teams in the country. Let's go into this middle section of the rankings here.
I do want to talk about these middle sections, and can I ask you a question really quick about these middle sections?
I suppose you can.
Seton Hall, Xavier, Texas Tech, Alabama, Providence. Don't get me wrong. I bet on them all the time. They come through all the time. However, another team that comes through a lot and has a really good record, Loyola Chicago. Why am I not seeing them in the top 25? Because let me tell you, I've watched Illinois, I've watched Tennessee, I've watched Texas play basketball, and Jesus Christ, Sister Jean herself plays basketball better than half of these people. Is it just because they're a mid-major and they're not being taken seriously, or? Are you dealing with something else? What's going on with Loyola Chicago, and why am I not seeing them in top 25?
Well, that's almost entirely it, is that they're mid-major. But I was going to get to that later on, but now that you bring it up, might as well.
Sorry, I was looking at the bottom half of the bracket, and I was like, "Where the fuck's Loyola?"
I expected to see them in there at 22 to 25 this week on Monday.
Okay. You think
Didn't see them in there. As far as voting is going, they're sitting at 27 right now. As of the Monday votes for the AP polls. Oklahoma obviously lost a game. Who was the only team not ranked that was ahead of them, so they'll jump them. Alabama losing to Auburn, they probably drop. Providence not playing at all because of COVID, they might
Yep.
drop. I don't know. You got Texas, you got Seton Hall who lost to DePaul.
To DePaul, a
That
bad DePaul team too. Not a good DePaul
who
team. Like a DePaul team that can't play in the second half. Like that
who
was a
who
bad loss for Seton Hall.
and Loyola beat DePaul.
Yeah.
They play tomorrow against Indiana State. Loyola does. I will be at that game.
Nice, dude.
I will be at that game in Terre Haute, Indiana. If Loyola wins that game, they should crack the rankings come Monday.
They need to.
And
It's disrespectful that they're not.
And they've struggled a little bit as of late. Their last two games, they won both of them, but double digit favorites in both of those games, and both of those games went to overtime periods. Not pretty wins, but they were wins. Like I said, if Loyola wins here on tomorrow, the game I'll be at, they should be in the rankings come Monday. I don't know, they'll be in the 20 to 25 range. They'll be in that bottom fifth of the rankings, but they'll still be in the rankings, which they deserve to be. I mean, this is a good team. They've played a couple of sloppy games here lately, but that's not going to continue. That's not going to continue all season. They're going to clean their shit up, and they'll be better. But
no, I agree with you, man.
Yeah, obviously a team that I follow very closely, and they're doing good things. They're doing good things. They're under a first-year coach, Drew Valentine, who's 29 years old, 30 years old maybe now, but youngest head coach in college basketball history. And he's doing good things. He is doing good things.
Loyola, that program is excellent. Really moving in the right direction. Shout out Sister Jean. I know we did that earlier, but got to shout her out again because she is the OG of OGs. And just
Yeah,
a baller of
102 years old or something like that.
Got to win her a championship before she
still shows up to all the games in her wheelchair. Just
fuck COVID. She's like, fuck COVID. I'm gonna go to these games.
She wears her mask. She's
she follows protocols absolutely, but she's like, I'm still going to these games. So shout out to her. Now, Noah, before we wrap this episode up, I want to hear, what are your 3 teams that you think are overvalued and 3 teams that you think are undervalued? I'll even take 2 and 2.
Funny you would bring that up, AJ. I got a whole list of.
We talked about this earlier.
Well, I don't know if you want like how are you, is it okay if I bring up small market teams or?
No, I gamble on. I gambled on Detroit Mercer earlier, so you can bring up as small teams as you want to.
Are we talking about betting?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if we're talking about betting, my 3 biggest teams to fade right now are Providence.
Agreed.
Stanford, even though they're coming off of a big win against USC. I would fade the shit out of Stanford. I actually have more than 3 that I'm fading on this standpoint. Miami.
I said top 3. Miami?
Miami's fake as well. I'm running through all the teams I'm fading right now. Miami,
All right, keep going.
Wisconsin,
Wisconsin, I
Wisconsin.
agree. Fucking Wisconsin
They
is so fake,
oh
dude.
man, they've been hot as shit lately, but they are gonna fall apart. They will fall apart.
So soon.
Um, and then on the other side of it, um, never mind. Those are the teams I fade. I have a couple teams I love too. If
Let me
you
hear
want to
them.
hear the flip side, I have five of them that I love that have been underperforming so far. These are my teams that have been underperforming that will be a really good betting staple here. And that is number one, Washington State. They're going to do really well in the Pac 12. Northwestern, they're going to have some
Love Northwestern.
Northwestern's Northwestern's going to have some good upset wins in the Big Ten. Virginia Tech, Kansas State, and Kentucky. Kentucky, oddly enough, I think they're being slighted a little bit. That's a better team than the lines that they get most of the time. Kentucky's gonna they're gonna you're gonna see Kentucky at plus money at some of these games in the ACC,
Oh, I
and
see it. Oh, I see it.
if you ever see Kentucky plus money, just take it. Coach
Yeah,
Cal's is
enjoy your
good.
night. Take it. I couldn't agree with you. You got to fade Providence at this point. They're too favorited of a team, especially against the ones they're going up against. They got that good win against Seton Hall, but that was about it. Tennessee, I have no faith in. I do want to say Ohio State sucks. Wisconsin sucks. Houston's solid. I like Houston a lot. I'm just going through a couple teams I like. I'm sorry, bro. And then KU, I think they just got to figure out what kind of a team they are. And they might do well from there, but have not been impressed with the games they're playing. Noah, do you have any other thoughts for the Degenerates before we sign off on this college basketball night?
We covered the first like top five or six. AJ, are we doing another episode covering the rest of the top 25 this week or maybe next week? I don't know.
Depends. Do you want to we can do another one right after this and do a part two, or do you want to just wait for the next polls to come out?
Oh, I think a part two this week and covering just ripping through the kind of like 8 through 25 spots might not be a bad idea
All right. Well, we'll do a
if you're up for it. I don't
the
know.
rest of the 25 part two coming up next. So definitely, if you're on Spotify right now, get ready to press that next button because we'll be coming at you. If you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. I don't know what you're doing. I mean, first of all, do that, and then go ahead, and the next video will pop up, and we'll see you next time on Degenerate Takes.